Welcome to another episode of Do Hard Things, where we believe that your best self is always found on the other side of doing hard things. Today, we have Robbie Hairfield with us as a guest on our podcast, and he is the CEO of ENRGSPACE, a solar broker company here in Southern California, and just an absolute stud in the industry as well. He's been in solar over a decade and has a really, really cool story. But Robbie, real quick, give us a quick kind of history of who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. John, thank you very much for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it. So like you said, I've been in the industry now for just a hair over 10 years. So I have seen quite a bit in solar over that 10-year time period. I'll give everybody just a really quick overview of like where I came from and how I got into the industry. So the main thing for me is that I've always wanted to do something that helps other people, right? Helps other people succeed and lives better lives, right? That's the most important thing for me. So I grew up in Seattle, Washington, absolutely beautiful place, right? A lot of green, trees, waterfalls, beautiful hikes. It does rain a lot. So
I ask that if it's true. The rumors are true.
The rumors are very true, right? So there's a lot of rain in Seattle, but it's absolutely gorgeous when it is sunny.
Yeah.
Now, I had always had this dream of moving somewhere like Miami, Florida, or Los Angeles, or San Diego growing up. So went to school, graduated college up in Washington. I'm a Cougar, you know, Wazoo, Washington State University. A lot of my family actually went to UW, so there's a little competition when it comes to football season for college. But, you know, after college, I actually became a real estate agent. This was in 2008, 2009, right? So that's when mortgages crashed. Did that, and I kind of realized that I wanted to follow my passion, which is environmental conservation and helping others.
Awesome.
So I actually left my job as a real estate agent, and I was selling. So I was making actually some decent money for like a 21-year-old kid, and I joined Greenpeace. And I had these visions of being on like an anti-whaling boat. Or like maybe they would hand me a video camera or a DSLR at the time and just ship me off into some exotic jungle to film like deforestation, right? So we could document it, or like some like wildlife, you know, crime that was happening. So we could bring that awareness to the world to help save those animals. But what I got was a clipboard, and they sent me out with a Greenpeace rainproof poncho onto the downtown streets of Seattle. And I did that for 90 days, and I was really good at it. And they wanted to promote me to a manager so I could just sit in an office and just interview and recruit for more of that position. And I said, you know what? I really want to do something that connects with my passion of environmental conservation, but also has maybe a larger scale impact on helping individuals and a larger scale impact for the world. So I was like, renewables, hands down, is where it's at.
100%.
Right? It's going to be a $1 trillion industry. It already literally is a $1 trillion industry globally. So I was like, let's move somewhere sunny where I've always dreamt of moving. Miami, Florida was an option. San Diego was an option. I picked San Diego. I absolutely
clearly the better one.
It's clearly the best option, right? So I'm telling you, right? So what I did is I applied for a few solar jobs and ended up working for a partner of Sunrun, right? I mean, you know Sunrun very well, obviously. So spent 2 years. I was kind of handed this door-to-door team, this small 15-person team that a Sunrun partner at the time said, hey, we want you to be the lead canvassing manager for this team to help coach and recruit and train. So I did that for the first 2 years of my, you know, now I'm in my 11th year career, and I absolutely loved it. I'd never knocked a door in my life. I had to kind of like set a little bit of my ego aside that I had at the time, but
Don't we all?
Canvassing in Seattle helped me. So I've been doing solar for 10 years. Absolutely love it. A lot of ups and downs, but I think it's just an incredible industry.
That's so cool. So actually, you shared this story with me before we started filming, but I didn't share this part with you. When I was actually in college, I did 1 year of college in Bexley, Ohio. Thought I wanted to be a lawyer at that time. And quickly found out that law school is not for me. Although I do enjoy reading contracts, fun fact. But when college didn't work out for me, I was like, okay, what's next? And I actually went to go look at the Greenpeace.
Yeah.
Greenpeace, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greenpeace.
Greenpeace. And I went to go look at them. I remember, I can still vividly remember the room. I walked in, I got their brochure, and it sounded great. I was like,
Yep.
this is cool. And if I remember correctly, I had a similar vision like you. Like,
Yeah.
I was going to go be like a kind of like an environmentalist warrior and be like,
Right.
I'm going to go do good for the world. And then, but I remember in bold letters in the pamphlet, it said, requirements must have a college degree. Maybe a change, I don't know.
Yep.
But at least that's what I read. And I was like, I was a freshman in college. I was like, I'm not gonna get a degree for another 3 years. Even that's assuming I stay in college. So I remember I was like, oh, I can't do it, and I felt bummed out. So then I was like, all right, what's next? And I was like, well, the military would take me. So then actually that's what got me to the Marine Corps. So then,
Okay.
But it's cool. I actually would have done the Greenpeace had it not been for that requirement of having a college degree, which I did not have.
Wow.
So I got disqualified. But yeah, so like you, I almost did. Well, I almost did it. You did it. And,
Yeah.
But instead, I went a different direction. But the cool thing about your story is that you found a sense of purpose, or you found your purpose.
Yes.
You know, and earlier we were talking about it. You know, Mark Twain said, the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And it's a day. The second part, it's sad that most people never find out why they're born. Most people never find out, like, man, what are the things that truly set me on fire? What are the things that when I get up in the morning, like, I don't even have to like think about doing it. I just do it because I love it. There's this fire in me. Like, you don't even see it as a job, right? Like where you're at right now, I'm sure you don't even see it like a job, right?
Nope.
You don't see it as I have to go to work. For you, it's I get to. Right. And there's a big difference in that, right? There's a big difference. So many people, if you're like in I have to mindset, you're probably not in alignment with your calling, your purpose, right? And that's okay. But when you finally get into that kind of, convergence, then you enter I get to. Hey, I get to sell solar, right? Hey, I get to lead a team. Hey, I get to talk to people about why the utility or why solar is a better option than utilities. And you just show up a lot differently. And I'm sure that must have been a big change for you, right? When you like entered a space that's like, man, this is the impact I want to make, right? So tell us more about that, right? Because I feel like you have a very unique perspective in solar. I venture to say in my 8 years in solar, I would say the vast majority of people do it more just because, number one, of what it can do for them financially, but also what it can do for the customers financially too. I have discovered there's not many people that are in it truly for the environmental aspect of like, I truly care about it, or at least most people don't maybe talk about that, where you're very open about it. You're like, no, right. I believe in it from the environmental aspect, and yeah, the financial side I'm sure is great. But tell us more about that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, John. For me, it really was about the environmental aspect, right? And actually making a massive positive change in the world today. There was actually a quote that I heard recently that I really liked and said, the best way to change nothing is just that, is to absolutely do nothing, right? If you need change in your life or you want to see change, then you can't do nothing. You have to take massive change. You have to make massive change every day. So if you want to see something unique, or you want to create a business, or you want to get in really great physical shape, you need to take massive action every single day towards that goal. So for me, I'm like always trying new things. The things that work out, I'm doing the same. I'm like, perfect. This worked really good. Like we'll say door to door. You guys are the experts at that, right? Once you figure out your pitch, you stick with that. But if you want to see change in yourself spiritually, physically, or in your business, you need to try new things. So for me, I bring a unique view to helping others with solar, in that a lot of what I'm doing with my solar business is referral-based business partnerships. And I think that's what you're asking, right? About like what I'm doing with like mortgages and real estate and investors, right?
Yeah, that, and then just what fuels that, right? Because the why behind it is the wanting to take better care of our planet, right? And because that's why you joined Greenpeace, to be able to go be out there in the action, actually do something to leave the world a better place for our children and our children's children.
Exactly. So I'll actually tell a quick story, and then I'll get back to what I'm doing with my real estate and mortgage and investment partnerships and how that can help you with solar. One big thing that I always really like to do is once a year, or at least once every other year, I try to do a significant trip with my life. And I try to make that focused on helping others or helping the planet. So I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago. I'd have to go back and look at my Instagram and my old Google Calendar. But I took a trip to the island of Sumatra. So Sumatra is in Indonesia. And the whole focus of this trip was to document on video and through photos the deforestation that's happening on Sumatra, on the island of Sumatra, because of palm oil, right? So palm oil plantations, if you look at a bag of potato chips or nuts, like palm oil is almost literally in everything. So you see like these, you know, rainforest certified products everywhere, and it says sustainable palm oil. Well, like, quote, sustainable palm oil is not really sustainable. When I went on this trip, what I'm seeing is a lot of illegal logging, like illegal deforestation within this protected ecosystem. So the Loser ecosystem, which is where I went on the island of Sumatra to do this trek to document palm oil. There's literally just tractors everywhere going into the jungle. And this is like supposed to be government protected lands. And I wanted to go to really help show the world what's happening there. And I remember just seeing like all the poverty throughout Indonesia. And when I was there, not only, you know, I was there to try to help document what's happening with deforestation, but what really hit me the most was seeing the people and meeting a lot of the people and how kind and down to earth they were. But they have like, a lot of these people have no opportunity to make money, right? You have a family of 8, 10, 12, 15 people living in a shack that's literally worth nothing, and they have no opportunities for education or for jobs. So then when you want to like say, hey, this deforestation is like terrible, like why are these people hurting their own forest? Well, it's because they need money. They need to provide food to their families. So it really hit me on both sides of the equation, and it really made me think the opportunities that we have here in the United States. And it really sparked a lot of action for myself when I came back from that trip. Because I'm thinking, you know, I can make a partnership with a real estate agent who could refer business to me, right? And close solar deals and make very good money while helping someone. Or I can go door to door just for one day and close a deal and make more money than these people in Indonesia are making in multiple years. And, you know, these people would do anything to have the opportunities that we have to make the partnerships and the relationships that we have, or go door to door to help people save money. And it's doing things like that that I think has really inspired me to truly help others and also grow the 100%. Business to a point where we're just helping more families.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And I think if everyone adopted that, call it a habit of once a year, once every 2 years, every 3 years, right? I think everyone can commit to like once every 3 years,
right?
To where they put themselves in a situation where we don't have the same opportunities that we have here. It really humbles you.
It does.
And I do the same thing, actually. So once a year, we do a humanitarian trip where we go to a country, and it's like, you know, it's like half work, half play. You know, for like half the trip, we're doing some type of community outreach program. So like this past year, we went to South Africa. We went to Cape Town, and we got to work in, you know, what's called the townships, or what we know as the, man, I'm looking at the name, but the townships sound nice, but they're not. They're the ones where it's like literally tin foil, like metal for like their house, right? It's like when you think of South Africa and poverty, that's what it is. And so I remember we were like tearing down this like beat down, like, again, it's aluminum foil or aluminum or tin foil, whatever, and we're tearing down this house to build up another one. And I remember when we were done, like, you will never catch me living in a place like that, but I remember seeing the joy on this woman's face when her new home was built and how stoked she was. And then also, we also helped build a soccer field at this elementary school. And as we're building it, the kids were also there. And when they would go out for recess, I would see kids playing with a flat soccer ball and having the time of their lives. Or I would say, and actually I brought my 5-year-old son with me. So he came to this trip with me, and it was like a really awesome father-son experience. And because he was playing with the kids, you know, and then, you know, I kept observing, and I noticed that they were using rocks to play catch.
Wow.
They were literally throwing rocks at each other and just catching them. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, you'll never catch my son doing that. If my son does that here, I actually reprimand him.
Right.
I'm like, no, you can't do. Why are you doing that?
Right.
He actually gets in trouble because he has access to an actual tennis ball, a soccer ball,
Baseball.
you know, baseball, whatever. And I'm just like, but what really got me was seeing the joy in their face. And it was a humbling experience for me because I'm like, man, these people have way less than I do, but they might be happier than me. Because how often do I get upset because, oh, there's a little bit of traffic? Well, hey, at least I have a car. Hey, at least I can say I have traffic, right? I remember driving in these streets, and there'll be literally like 20 people in a pickup truck going down the highway in Cape Town. You know, because cool, hey, we got one car, like, you know, families of 10, 15, we got to make it work, right, on one car. Right. And I'm just like, and I came back, and I love, and you know, the year before that, we did Costa Rica. Year before that, we did Thailand and, you know, Peru. So like every year, like this year we're going to the Philippines. And I'm excited for that. But it's great to do that because it resets you. It makes you realize that what we have here is so freaking amazing. And that's why I love the solar industry, because I do believe the solar industry is the modern day gold rush. It's great for us, it's great for the consumer, and it's great for the future of the planet, right? And I love that you're like, you see the bigger picture. You're like, I am so blessed that I get to have this. Like, sure, it's hard. Knocking doors is hard. Dealing with clients is hard, right? Dealing with sometimes the hard ones or the cancellations, that's hard. But hey, I would rather take this hard than the hard of what I see when I went to Costa Rica, when I went to, you know, South Africa, because there's some people that have it way, way harder than I do.
Right.
And so it's cool that you have that awareness, and I wish everyone did too, and I wish everyone just once a year, you know, like when the country was going through a really heated political climate and like, oh, America's oppressive and America's this, I really want to tell people, like, oh, do you think America's oppressive? Great, go live somewhere else for 90 days.
At least once.
Then come back. Then tell me if you think they're oppressive. You know, like I grew up in Honduras, I was born in Honduras, right, which is a third world country, poverty. I remember at 5 years old, I saw my mom get robbed at gunpoint.
Wow.
And so I have that awareness. All I have to say is I have that awareness. I love that you do, and I wish more people do. And like for anyone listening to this, like, if you have not ever gone to a different country, like not like a nice trip, like no, you're there to work. Right. You know, I remember when we did Costa Rica, like that was straight manual labor. I remember it was raining, and me and all the guys were like, we were putting cement down for the sidewalk that we were building next to a school, and it was raining, and we're just like getting in the dirt and just like mud all over us. It was straight manual labor, you know. But I'm just like, I remember going back home, and I'm like, I'm so blessed. I don't have to do manual labor to make a living.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And so everyone needs to do that. So that's cool that you do, and that you found a purpose in that, and you're like, cool, I'm going to build a business around it. And so tell us more about that. Tell us more about kind of like, you know, your business model and how you have it set. A lot of people that tune in are in solar or some kind of course, business. And so I feel like you have a very unique model.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of finish off like what we're talking about. I think it's amazing, John, that you and like your entire team, you guys are doing these conservation trips. Well, you could call it conservation, but really you're doing these trips, right? Once a year to help others. Yeah, you're giving back to help families that don't have the opportunities that we have. And that's just amazing. There's a lot of companies doing that, and you know, keep doing that. It's just incredible work. Yeah. It humbles you and it makes you want to work harder.
Hey, come with us to the next one.
I'm down.
Come on.
Is that it? Is that an open invite?
Yeah, open invite.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
I'm definitely down to help.
We actually last year in Costa Rica, I remember one of my friends brought his buddy that was a realtor. Yeah. You know, doesn't sell solar. He just like, yeah, I'll come. And he loved it. Yeah.
I'm coming.
There you go.
Final decision. Yes. So, John, what you asked is like, what else am I doing with my business to help more individuals and more families get solar? You know, if you're looking at something like door-to-door, like I already mentioned, you guys are the experts. Door-to-door is incredible. But in addition to going directly to your client, to the property owner's home, I think it's really important to build relationships, right? And just broad spectrum, like building relationships with people is one of the most satisfying things that you can have in life in general, right? So John, one thing that I am focusing on with the business that's helping both myself and also my sales team see a lot of success, in addition to going door to door, is building referral partnerships and relationships with other like-minded entrepreneurs. Now, when I say that, I think that building relationships is one of the most not only gratifying things that you can have in life, right? I think relationship building is just incredible.
Right.
And I would almost say that before you get into an industry and just put your head down and just work really hard for a year, go and spend that first year making relationships with as many people as you can in the industry that you want to be in, and relationships with other businesses that support that industry. So for solar, one of the biggest initiatives that I have is partnering with real estate agents, real estate brokerages, mortgage brokers, loan officers, and then also home builders and investors. Okay. And I'm talking about people who invest in like flips, right? Fix and flips. Obviously, real estate agents, right? And mortgage brokers, what's their full-time job? Helping property owners either sell their house, buy a house, or get a loan for a house, right?
Right.
And then when you're talking about, like investors and they're doing fix and flips, well, they're buying homes all the time.
Yeah.
They're fixing them and then they're flipping them. And now we have Title 24 in California, which requires new homes to have at least a minimum system size for new builds. So what we're looking at is, okay, how can I have a consistent flow of referral business every single day from my network of friends and business partners? So like currently I've got a dozen real estate agents, who are friends of mine here in San Diego and throughout Southern California that are referring me clients every single week, because as soon as they help their client close escrow and that client got the keys, they opened the door to their new house, they're super excited. We just got a new house. What I'm doing is I'm training my real estate agents to make that warm handoff. Right. So that new property owner is super excited. They got their new house. 30 days later, what are they going to get? They're going to get their first electric bill, and it's $300, $500, $750, $1,000. And they're like, wow, I just bought a beautiful home in California. But what I didn't really think about is on top of my $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 mortgage, I'm also spending $500, $1,000 a month on energy, whatever it may be. So it's a value add to these real estate agents, where what we're doing is we say, hey, once the transaction is closed, call your client after the first 30 days of getting their keys and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, thank you again so much for choosing me as your real estate agent. I sincerely appreciate it. How has your first 30 days in your home been? And then let that homeowner talk, right? Let your client talk. Say, that's great. Now, one thing that I mentioned when your home closed is that I was going to check in with you in 30 days to see how much you love the new home, if there's anything I can do to help. And then also we're going to touch base about how much your energy bill was for that home. Now, I already connected you with my solar professional, right after the home closed, but I just wanted to follow up to make sure that you're coordinating with them to see if solar would be a right fit for the home. So it's an opportunity for the real estate agent to get true feedback on how the customer's first 30 days was. It's usually hectic because they're like moving boxes and stuff. But as soon as that escrow closes, right, that real estate agent is just sending a template email that I've already provided them to that homeowner. And then I'm following up with that person saying, hey, here's who I am. Here's how we help our property owners. And here's the right path forward. So we're going to stay in touch if you have any questions about solar over your first 30 days in the property. And then when you get that first SoCal Edison utility bill or SDG&E utility bill or, whatever it is, That's when we're going to go, I'm going to come to your house and we're going to meet and we're going to review options for you for solar to see if it makes sense for you to do solar at this time. And then I'm doing the same thing in a similar capacity with mortgage brokers. It's a little bit different because the mortgage broker isn't handing over the keys.
Right.
But that's working really well now.
Yeah, and it reminds me of, they say trust is the currency in business.
Right.
Right. And the cool thing is the realtor, the mortgage guy, they've already done kind of like half the work for you, because building that trust is usually half the battle with any sell, right? That's the battle we run into in door-to-door is just simply getting people to trust us, just simply getting them to trust that what we say is true and factual and ethical, right? Because a lot of the times people, they're like, nope, I don't trust what you say, even if, of course, what you're saying is 100% factual. But they already have that trust, right? They trust them, cool. They trust them enough to buy their home, get them their loan, to where now what they say, if they say, hey, you should contact Robbie because Robbie has something great for a problem you're going to have, regardless of whether you get solar or not, the trust is already there. So I'm sure it makes the handoff a lot easier.
Right.
Now, which kind of leads me to my question, building trust takes time, right? So, of course, the realtor, the mortgage guy, the investors, cool, they have the trust with the homeowner or the builder, depending on who you're working with. How have you built the trust with the realtor? Let's say, cool, right now I don't have any. Let's say right now I have no realtor, no mortgage guy that, currently I am working with for referral business. But let's say I do have them in my network. I just have never reached out and said, hey, I know you do real estate. Let's grab lunch, and I want to find a way where we can collaborate more. Or, hey, you do, you're in the mortgage industry. Cool, let's collaborate. How have you built trust with these people to where they trust that you are going to take care of their clients?
Right. Absolutely. That's a very good question, John. I think the first thing in building trust is to be confident in your own abilities, right? You need to actually know that, like, deep down inside, you are an expert in your own field. So in this case, we're talking about solar. So if you're comfortable knowing that you're an expert and you're confident in yourself and you're confident in your team, meaning the company that you're with, right? That's where it all starts first. Now, if you're new, you should still network, right? Even if you're like brand new, you're like, hey, I'm still trying to figure out how to sell solar. You can be confident in your team, and you can be confident in your mentors and still build those partnerships.
Right.
But let's say that you're a consultant, you're good at what you do, and you know real estate agents, you just haven't, reached out.
Yeah.
It's literally as simple as like, okay, write down your action plan, write down those real estate agents or the real estate brokerages or the mortgage loan officers that you know personally. Text them, right? Or send them messages through LinkedIn or Instagram or social media, right? Whatever capacity of communication works best for you and them. And just start letting them know that your goal is to provide more value to their industry. So when I started reaching out to real estate agents who are friends of mine, it wasn't like, hey, I want to make more money for me. Can you just send me all your referrals?
Right.
They're, like that might not get a great response. What I did was, a lot of your property owners are going to get solar sooner than later. Wouldn't it be great if you were the expert resource to help them along that journey, right? So I ask a couple questions like that, and I say, who are you currently working with who's an expert in solar? Because, everybody that buys a house from you or everyone's house that you sell, right, they're going to have to buy another home, and they're going to get solar for it. So wouldn't it be nice to be in that top, 1% or that top 5% of the agents who do have an expert go-to solar team?
Well, and real quick, I love that question.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
Right.
That's key, because there's a difference between who do you have versus are you using, right? Because the who do you have, it's like the underlying assumptive statement there is you should have one.
Yes.
And then if they don't, now they're like, oh shoot, am I supposed to have one and I don't? Like, right? And I love that question. It's like, hey, who do you have? And they're like, well, I have nobody. And then, but now they're like, shoot, am I supposed to have one? And then it makes it so that's a cool question that you asked right there.
It's a good question, because now the top agents, right, do have go-to solar experts. Not all of them, And I'll tell you this, like, guys, this is some golden information. There's a lot of real estate agents who are starting to partner with solar experts. There's more that haven't partnered with solar experts, right? So we should really utilize this, because at the end of the day, our goal is actually the same as the mortgage broker and the real estate agent. It's to help our clients, right? We have the same goal. It's to help that property owner be happy in their home, right? And provide them the most value in their home for themselves or for their family.
Yeah.
And one thing that's really important is to have the most reasonable cost of living for your home. So real estate agent's going to negotiate to get you the best price on that house. Your mortgage broker is going to do the best that they can to get you the best loan at the lowest price possible for what you're qualified for. And then what are we going to do, John? We're going to do our best to get you the best solar system for your needs, right? Solar panels, inverters, battery storage, whatever is going to be the perfect fit for what you need. And then we're going to offer you that best solution as far as, is it cash or financing, PPA, lease, and explain to our clients the differences with these programs and then help them get the best fit for them. But when you're working with real estate agents, the real estate agent fiduciary responsibility is to their client first, to make sure that they are selling that home that's listed or getting their buyer the perfect home and closing escrow.
Right.
Now they're just providing more value to their client on the back end. So we have nothing to do with the escrow process. We don't want to, potentially even have that buyer, right, think about anything else during that escrow process except for getting that home and closing on it. But as soon as that home's closed and they have those keys, right? That agent is using the email template that I've provided to them for email and text, and sending me that new happy home buyers information so I can schedule a call with them to help them. And then of course I have my referral programs with the agents. So like they're also getting a thank you referral, right? In a different capacity. And if you treat your agents as true business partners, and you treat them well and you're following up with them all the time, that's how you actually start to get a lot of referrals. Just like our solar clients, right? If you are selling solar for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and you never follow up with any of your clients asking for referrals, how many referrals are you going to get? You'll get some from time to time, but if you treat your client right and you ask them for referrals and you do it in the right way, where they know that you have their best interests in mind and you have anybody that they might refer to, their best interests in mind, you're going to get a lot more referrals. So treat your real estate agents good, right? And treat them as a friend and a true business relationship. And like, you're going to probably sooner than later fill your schedule with referrals.
It reminds me of kind of, chasing volume, not margin, right? You're like, no, I'd rather have more volume, but you only do that by, not chasing margin. Where some people, they're like, I want the biggest check possible in this one deal, right? But, but because they have like the biggest possible commission, which, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but but if you have that, it's doesn't necessarily put the customer in maybe the most happy situation, where if you're like, you know what, I would rather maybe just have a set price that I set all the time. Sure, it's not really big, it's not really small either, but it allows me to have volume, right? That way more people say yes, because there's more savings, there's more excitement, whatever. And that's actually how I built the sales team. Is like, for a long time I took very little on the margin on, like, what we call overrides in solar, right? Because I was like, you know what, I want my guys to get paid a lot more than what the competitors are paying, and I'll make up my money through volume, right? I'll make a good living for myself based on volume, not on, oh, we installed 10 accounts this month, but cool, I made 20 grand because I'm keeping a big piece of the pie. No, it's an accountability for me. Like, let me get a lot smaller the pie, give more of the reps. That way they want to go sell more because I partner with my reps, right? Like, in a way, just like how you're partnering with real estate agents, right? Like, for me, I view it as cool. My reps are my partners, right? And I got to treat them good. I got to take care of them. I need to make sure that they're happy, they're taken care of. They feel like they're compensated really, really well for what they do. And because I recognize that by doing that, right, they're happy. Then they talk to their friends about it. I'm sure you've had probably stories of where one of your realtor friends was like, hey, actually, I have another friend that's also a real estate agent, and he needs a solar guy, right? And then now, boom, now you got a 2-for-1.
Right.
So to kind of pivot into the question I want to ask, if let's just say someone has no contacts, right? What would you recommend for that person to start building that type of network? We have LinkedIn, we can reach out, but I mean, are you just reaching out via social media, or I guess you started talking about it, but what are some next steps that someone can do to start building those relationships? And then also, once those relationships are built, like, what are you currently doing right now to strengthen that relationship? Like, what are some things that you do when, let's say, someone just gave you a solar lead, cool, you closed it, right? They're happy as well. Like, what are you doing to then also take care of the partner that referred that business?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing that you asked, John, was what if you don't have any relationships, right? You just maybe you don't network, maybe you don't go out a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that
or just all. Brand new to solar,
right? Or just brand new.
Like, brand new, I just did 9 to 5, I love solar, I see what it can do.
Yep.
They're going all in.
Right. So let's say you're going all in, you're hitting the doors, you're door knocking, you're getting some business there, you're seeing some success there, but you also want to network so you can build other streams of revenue, right? And help new clients that maybe you wouldn't meet on the doors, right? But you don't know what to do, and you don't have any friends that are real estate agents, and you're brand new. There are so many in-person events every single week, right? For real estate and title and escrow and mortgage. I mean, just literally go to Google or look up like events on like Eventbrite, right? And just type in real estate. Or maybe type in, like roofing, right? You want to go to some roofing conferences.
Wow.
But specifically for real estate, I would just look at events calendars wherever you are locally for real estate. There are always meetups. I literally went to one yesterday, okay? And the event that I went to yesterday, there were like 20 sponsors for the event. There were real estate brokerages, mortgage brokerages, and other types of financial services that are related to helping property owners get their dream home. So all I did was walk around to every single booth that was a sponsor, and I was genuinely interested in what that company did and what their service was, so I can understand what it is, like what part of the real estate transaction did that company help with. Get their card so that I know if I'm ever talking to a client of mine that's like, man, I'm thinking about selling this house, so I don't know if solar makes sense. That's great. When are you thinking about selling the house? Oh, I don't know, maybe, in like a year or something. Why? Okay, well, like, what's your determining factor of like if you're going to move in a year from now? Like, well, I'm repairing my credit, right? I don't think I can actually get the loan that I want, even though I make enough money. What's really cool, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, is I was at a real estate networking event yesterday, and I talked to this really cool company whose entire goal of the company is to help homeowners repair their credit so they can get their next dream home. Wow. Do you think, like, would that help you? And then you're now actually also talking with that property owner, and you might have an opportunity to help that property owner get solar on that home even before they move. But then maybe you can also refer that business a new client, and they're like, wow, like Robbie is on the doors and he like name dropped us and we just got a new client. So now we're going to start referring him business. I think it's just about getting out of your comfort bubble and getting into the communities that you want to help. Right.
But it sounds like your strategy is you provide value before you ask for value.
That's the goal.
You're not walking up to them and being like, oh, hey, yeah, you don't have a solar guy? Cool. Hey, I can be your solar guy. Here's my business card, right? You said it, you get to know them, which that's a sales lesson in itself. You get to know them. You get to know, cool, what's their passion? What are they doing? What's their work? And then if you can find ways to bring value to them, free value, right? Because like if I'm in the credit repair business and we meet and then a week later you refer someone to me, I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that. You didn't have to. And then now, it's like that law of reciprocity where, cool, you do something for me. Yeah. Now I'm more inclined to do something for you. To where now if I'm working with somebody, let's say I'm the credit repair guy, I'm working with somebody who is working on their credit to get a home. I help them do that, knowing like, oh, well, Robbie told me like 650 credit score to get most programs. Oh my gosh, they're over at 650. Hey, you should talk to Robbie, right? And so it's cool. Like it's a great lesson on if you have no contacts, just start getting out there. Google, I love that. But then I think the important lesson here is do something for them first. Yeah, if you can. Right. And it's not gonna work all the time, I'm sure, but it's gonna work more times than not if you genuinely do something without expectation on their end.
I think that if you have the mindset of helping others, and sometimes we have to be selfish with our time when we need to get things done, right? But at that same time, if you have a mindset of helping other people and you're always networking in a genuine way, truly getting to know people and understanding like, hey, how can I actually help others? And how can I provide value to others, especially in the business relationship capacity? And you spend a specific amount of your time, right, consciously thinking, how can I help a few of these new partners that I met succeed? How can I refer them some business? How can I provide them some business? And you actually stay in contact, right? If you meet someone and you don't call them or text them, then it's useless. You wasted your time, right? But if you email, call, and text them the next day, or maybe the event was on Friday, so you call them on like Monday, and you stay in touch. And then you put that business contact into your Rolodex or your CRM. So, you're organized, right? Just like you are with your solar deals, but you're organized now with your business relationships and your business contact. Now you're putting them on like a follow-up email list. You're letting them know when you're doing something new. Hey, we have a solar promotion going on, right? Yeah. Helping others, you'll find that if you focus on helping others, sooner than later, that's going to start to come back to you. Yeah. You'll have a lot of blessings.
Jim Rohn said, if you help enough people get what they want, eventually you get what you want.
Yeah, exactly. So I have that mindset, right? And it's treated me well. And the more that I help others, the more that, blessings are from God. I believe that God helps me every day, right? Because he does. But the more good that I do, to be honest, and help people, the more I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I wonder if that client's going to sign that contract. And then literally, boom, DocuSign, contract signed, right? And sometimes when I'm like, I get stressed out just like everybody else does. Sometimes I'll have days or weeks where I'm stressed out and I know I could do better to help others, and like things don't happen. Yeah. I don't get that signed contract. And I'm not joking. The weeks where I'm like going out of my way to pray for others, or when somebody yelled at me on a door, "You're solar? Go away. I don't like you." And I step onto that sidewalk and I'm like, God, I really hope that person has a really beautiful day, and that whatever they're struggling with, they're okay. Right? Yeah. I get more deals. Yeah. I get more deals. The more positive energy you put out there, the more positive energy you're going to get back. That's right. You can't just sit on your couch and manifest without doing anything. Yeah. You can pray, but you got to get out there and you got to help others. So come up with a strategic way to get into the community and start building those relationships and be serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to kind of tie it all together, there's many ways to approach, call it marketing solar, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people do a door-to-door, right? It's a pretty simple, scalable way, but that's not the only method, right? There's also social media. I know guys that do online marketing, right? They just put ads on Google and Facebook, on Instagram, and cool, they get business that way. But then there's guys that, I guess, like you, have partnerships with all sorts of different people in different industries that deal with the same clients that we deal with, right?
Right.
You know, whether it's like, cool, even plumbers, right? Plumbers probably deal with homeowners too a lot of the times, or like you said, real estate or mortgage brokers. And so it's just understanding that there's many ways to go about it, and that there's many paths to success in this industry, and that's the beautiful thing about it. What would you say though or kind of a thought that I'm having is, if you're brand new, I feel like they should fail first or learn via like door to door.
Yeah.
Because it's like, versus they get a real estate person. Let's say they're still new. They don't really even understand solar 100% yet.
Right.
They build that trust. That realtor sends them a referral.
Yeah.
And they like butcher it. Yeah. And then now that real estate is like, oh, okay, I'm not going to send you more business. Would you say that it's probably good for someone to kind of like practice, right? To maybe start in the doors and then eventually do what you're doing? Or would you say there's fruit and maybe just like, if someone wants to get into solar, to maybe start doing your method? Does my question make sense?
That question absolutely makes sense. I would definitely put in the hard work to get good on the doors first. I would say learn from you and like the experts that you have within your entire team, because you've got some of the best men and women in the entire industry that you work with, right? That are on your team that you work with at Legacy. So
thank you.
If you're new, you know, as a new guy or girl, man or woman, you should, whoever you are, learn from a mentor.
Yeah.
Right? Learn from someone who's really good. And I think that learning door to door is such an incredibly crucial, important part of the industry. Like, I'm preaching to you here about this, right? Learn door to door first and overcome your fear going door to door with people that you don't know. I think it's a really great way to humble yourself and overcome the fear of talking to people, and then get good at having organic conversations. Most of the time when you go to a door, you think that it's going to be awkward for you. It's actually just more awkward for the homeowner, right? Like, I'm a lot more comfortable than the homeowner is when I come to their door, because they don't know why I'm there. Right. I know exactly why I am. They don't know why I'm there, right? And I already have my pitch, and they're just like, who are you? What do you want? Right?
Yeah.
So spend however long it takes for you to get comfortable on the doors and get great at your pitch and get comfortable selling first, right? Helping the property owners in the communities that you're looking to help, the communities that you're investing, you know, feet on the ground, right? A couple hundred doors a day, plus or minus, whatever it is. Get good at that and have at least some level of confidence in your own abilities. And you have at least a minimum knowledge of what solar is and the benefits of solar for the property owner and tax credits and the different programs. And then at that point, I would say go and focus on building other referral partnerships with like real estate agents and real estate brokerages. But when you do that, I would still suggest that you partner with the mentor who's been in solar for a long time, right? So if you have a brand new person on your team and they come to you, John, and they're like, hey, you know, I saw this podcast and I really want to focus on, you know, real estate agents and referrals. That's great. You should still focus 95% of your time on getting really good at door to door, but spend 5% of your time, if you want to do that, you know, or maybe just in your free time, right, on using the right techniques to reach out to real estate agents or going to events. But bring a mentor with you who is an expert, who can answer all those questions for that real estate agent, and make sure that you're building those relationships with someone who can answer everything for those real estate brokerages, because that's how you're actually going to gain that long-term relationship. Like, if you get a meeting with one of the most successful real estate agents or real estate brokerage firms in San Diego and you're new and you try to make stuff up, it's not going to work very well, right? Like, you want to be honest and transparent and you want to be confident. So if you don't know something, like, that's why I brought John. John's the expert. He's here, right? So those questions, like, John's going to be able to answer those, and then we can pair you up with our most seasoned reps. And don't be afraid to pay to learn. And what I mean by that is instead of trying to take 100% of the pie or nothing, be happy that maybe you get a little piece of that pie, but you actually close the deal or you earn that relationship and you're learning. How many tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars have you spent and do entrepreneurs spend to increase their knowledge by learning from others, right? So learn from people that are on your team, right? And use that as a resource.
And I love that. And that's a topic I love. It's like a collaboration, you know, because 100% of $0 is $0, right? But 10% of $10,000 is $1,000, right? And it's much better, or 50-50. And so, because too often I see people, they venture out on their own a little too soon. Maybe because their mentor made it seem a little easier. They're like, oh, I can do it. But what they don't realize is that the only reason the mentor makes it look easy is because it's years and years and years of perfecting that skill. And then they go on, they're like, well, I want to get 100%. And then they go from maybe making 50%, you know, the first 2-3 months, but then now they're making zero. Like, although they can't make 100%, they're making no money because they can't close anything. So I love that concept of, you know, mentorship and collaboration. Who have been some mentors in your life that have helped you become who you are today?
That's a really good question. I've had a number of mentors. There's one specifically for solar who stands out. He was a director years ago when I was a manager at Solar City.
Cool.
And great guy, really nice guy, but he could also be a hard ass, right? And what he did is if we weren't hitting our numbers for high expectations for ourselves, for all of our, you know, KPIs and like metrics on what our teams are generating for leads and closes and install ratio, every single day, if we weren't in the green category, you're in the yellow category or the red category of you're underperforming a little bit or underperforming a lot. We were on a 6 a.m. Zoom or in-person meeting in a suit.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
High accountability.
Yeah. Accountability, like every day, Monday through Friday. Right. And then the same token at the end of the night, right, at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., again, back on Zoom. How did you do that day? It was pretty annoying, to be totally honest, in real time. Like, man, like I got to get up at 5 or 4 a.m. and like work out or take a quick jog or hit the gym or just even try to wake up in time to shower and be presentable and put my suit on and be on the Zoom at like 5:59, right? Because you don't want to be late. You didn't want to be late. And what that did for me, I was like suffering, right? I'll call it suffering in real time. But you know what that did? Is that taught me a lot of accountability. Yeah. It taught me accountability for myself. Wow. Understanding that, like, you know, if every day I'm simply structuring my day and structuring my activities that I know are going to achieve success, and then I don't get distracted or deviate or, you know, it's a nice day, so like I could go to the beach for a couple hours, but I have all these things to do. Right. And you just stick to your path to success and you follow that recipe. Yeah. And you hold yourself accountable, you're going to achieve really great things. And then one thing that I learned out of all of that, which I try to do now, is, and I think this can help a lot of people, right? So that was one mentor that helped me.
So are you saying that for people that don't hit their numbers, I should be doing Zoom calls, get them in a suit, and that will increase results?
Maybe. It's going to be uncomfortable.
Come on.
It's going to be uncomfortable, but you need that daily accountability.
And you love it. And you said
accountability.
It's accountability. And the ones that are about it, like you, they'll understand how this helps them. Yeah. But the ones that are not about it, they're going to get weeded out. They'll be like, this is done, this is stupid, cool. And then you're not cut out for business. You're not cut out for being able to do hard things. Because to be successful in life, it's going to be hard. Right. Right? Like, there's a quote, being rich is hard. Right. Being broke is hard. It's like, choose your hard. Which hard do you want? Do you want the hardships of poverty or the hardships of prosperity? Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll take the hardships of prosperity, you know, and that sometimes mean, I didn't hit my goals. All right, I got to show up in a Zoom, in a suit on a Zoom, and like it's semi-embarrassing, semi-like, why am I here? But that gave you the fire and the drive to go to new levels.
Right. Exactly. I take cold showers all the time.
Come on.
Right? It was really uncomfortable. You wake up and you're like, oh man, I just woke up 5:30 in the morning. Some people wake up earlier. Some people wake up later. I wake up at 5:30, and usually I do the gym in the morning. But if I have early morning meetings, and I need to shower, I do cold showers, right?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable right away. Always.
Yeah.
It's always uncomfortable. I don't want to wake up and jump in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freezing cold right now. But you know what it does is it toughens you up. And by the time you get out of that cold shower, you know what the result is? Your heart has pumped a lot more blood throughout your body to try to warm your body up. And it feels like you just drank like 3 shots of espresso in the shower, but you didn't drink any coffee.
Right.
It's actually just that you have like invigorated your body with getting the blood moving, and you have energy flowing throughout you because you kickstarted your body. So it's like that in business as well. You have to understand that taking the right actions probably are immediately going to be uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone. And but it'll lead to comfort. It's going to lead to your goal, right?
Have you done the cryotherapy?
I have.
Chamber?
I have.
Yeah.
Cold water is a lot colder though. I mean, cryos. Maybe you haven't done the
one I've done.
Maybe you haven't done the right one.
Dude, I do one at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay.
-177 with high winds.
That's cold.
At the 2-minute mark, you're tearing.
Okay, I
I'm
not
not
done that one.
All right, we gotta work out.
I need to do that.
We gotta work out because I do it before every workout.
Okay.
It's the best, like you said, the best way to wake up, but also releases endorphins. And then when you hit the gym, you actually go heavier because your body's like primed for it.
Right.
But it's like intense. Like, literally at the 2-minute mark, I'm like tearing.
Right.
It's that bad. My face is hurting.
Yeah.
I do like 3.5 minutes is the max, but it's brutal. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. That's like the highest setting, but -177 with high winds.
Oh man.
It's intense.
The next thing that I want to try, and I've only just started this journey, like literally a week ago. A lot of the world's best professional surfers do breathing techniques before they go surf and before a competition, because you're oxygenating your blood and it gives you a lot of natural energy.
Yep.
I'm going to start doing that in the mornings, and I'm going to start doing that before my in-person presentations. So I just have that.
Yeah.
I have that focus.
Yeah.
It helps you be sharp. Yeah. Right?
Have you heard of breathe degrees?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taken their classes like 3 times. We actually did a retreat one time where we had the owner of it come out at the Invisible House, and he took like 12 of our leaders through a class, and then we did an ice plunge. But I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is it's these small things, honestly. So on this topic, it's these small things that ultimately help you get success in life, right? It's these small little hacks.
Yeah.
Don't take long. A cold bath takes 3 to 5 minutes, right? Or a cryo chamber, 3 to 5 minutes, or a breathing technique, 3 to 5 minutes, just understand the power of your breath. But if you do these things, it helps you go out there and accomplish whatever your mission is a lot better.
I agree.
Yeah.
One of my friends preaches this all the time, and he's like a high performance coach. And he says it's the micro shifts that end up with the macro result. Everybody wants the macro shift and the macro result overnight. But the reality, like you said, John, it's like change one thing every day.
Yeah.
Make sure that every day you're adding an additional 5 minutes to your schedule of self-improvement and positivity and accountability.
Yep.
And sooner than later, that 5 minutes, which is nothing in the scope of 24 hours, all of a sudden now you're achieving this macro massive result that you wanted because you committed to doing something different 5 or 10 minutes a day. And it's just you add 5 minutes onto your schedule of focusing on something for 1 week. And then next week is 10 minutes. And then sooner than later, that hour a day of positive accountability, breath work, cold showers, coaching, learning, and you look back a year, you'll be like, wow, I've really made a lot of success. But you got to start.
That's right. It's the small things, I always tell my guys, you don't win a championship by one big win.
Right.
You win a championship by a lot of small wins, a lot of medium wins, and then that's what gets you the big wins.
Right.
No one wins the the Super Bowl by just playing one game. Oh, we beat them, we won. No, it took them a lot of games. They had to win a lot, and fail in some of those games. They sometimes lost some, but they won more than they failed, and then that's what gets you the big win. So it's a great Defi life principle. So Robbie, in closing, how can people find you? Where are you at? What platforms are you in? Like, if someone wants to connect with you, learn more about what you do and just who you are and your way of how you get your business here in the solar space, what's the best way they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can reach me on LinkedIn or Instagram. My name is Robbie Hairfield, like hair and then field. My company is, it's easy. ENRGSPACE.
You got good hair.
Thank you. I have actually never dyed my hair blonde like this, but I went to a music event. There was a 3-day music event up in Washington State. It was beautiful. And I decided I'm going to dye my hair blonde so my friends can find me. So it was fun. And then I usually wear like really basic colors, but I wore a crazy shirt today. ENRGSPACE, ENRG Space. That's my company name, ENRGSPACE.com.
Yeah.
Robbie's Wildlife is my Instagram. I went with the name Robbie's Wildlife because I love animals. I love wildlife conservation. I donate to wildlife conservation from every single solar install we do. And by the way, I saw your Instagram video of the Invisible House event in Joshua Tree you guys did. Super baller. Yeah. I was really impressed. Like the whole event that you do, that you do with your teams. It's just super awesome, man. You're a great leader.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, that was it, guys. We're thankful to have Robbie on here on the Do Hard Things podcast, where we believe that your best self is found on the other side of doing hard things. So thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you at the next episode.